my wonderful friends, and welcome back to another video, and welcome to my garden. I don't often film in here, but it is such a nice day. I didn't want to be stuck inside, and I felt it was a bit too hot for Gem's car chat, so I would probably boil like a little sardine in a tin can if we filmed in there today. Over on the community tab and on my broadcast channel on Instagram, I asked you if you had any questions for me, so I'm going to work through those and update you on how this year's going. Can you believe we're halfway through the year? If that sounds like good stuff to you, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you haven't seen me before, hello, my name is Gem. This is my channel Wheels No Heels. It's dedicated to my disability lifestyle, so make sure to give a subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss any fun upcoming videos. First question we have from Stephanie is, are you going away on any holidays this summer? And Stephanie, Daisy and I are super sad because the short answer is no. Last year we had an amazing out of this world holiday to Florida to celebrate my 40th. All of the vlogs are up there if you want to go and check them out. So this year, no, no holidays planned. We might be doing some day trips or some little places around the UK, which we're planning on vlogging. So make sure you keep an eye out for those. They're just fun days out, I think. Let me know, guys. Have you got any trips planned this year? Where are you going? Shaun's very lucky. He's going back to Australia in September for a couple of weeks. But for Daisy and I, no. Next question, Jamie has asked, how do you afford all of your wheelchair accessories, and did you get a grant for your accessible vehicle? So I think you're probably referring to my Batex. I've got lots of videos on my Batex, which is a wheelchair power attachment here, and if you're a long time watcher then you'll know my first Batex that I got in about 2020 I bought secondhand through a website called Access Your Life, who advertise lots of secondhand mobility aids. My Batex Mini that you've probably been seeing me using for the last year or so was actually funded through Access to Work. You may have heard of Access to Work because there's been a lot of conversations about it recently because it's been really hard to apply for. Access to Work will give disabled people grants to access work, as do their job to the same sort of level as a non-disabled person. So if you need a wheelchair to access getting to work, then they may fund a proportion of a wheelchair. They will fund part of it and then you have to top it up, and they'll fund things like support workers to help you with your job. They'll help with medical equipment like wheelchairs, or if you need an ergonomic office chair, or sign language interpreters if you need someone like that. I think the system at the moment is completely overwhelmed at the amount of people that are applying for grants through Access to Work. I've heard lots of people are waiting up to 6 months for their grants, and lots of people who have had Access to Work are now being denied access to work. The system is completely broken. With my accessible vehicle, I wouldn't say that my vehicle is a accessible vehicle. My vehicle is funded through Motability, so they take your mobility component of PIP, and then you can lease a car through Motability. I have done lots of videos on Motability in the past if you want to go and check those out, but essentially you lease a car and then every 3 years you can get a new car through the scheme. I have found it to be amazing. I know that some people don't like Motability and it has its flaws, but if it works for you, that's great, and if it doesn't, then that's fine as well. The next one is from My Stick Fever. Groovy name, and they have asked, out of all of the countries that you have visited, which one has been the most accessible? I would have to say America. I find America to be very accessible, and when I speak to my American friends, they don't necessarily have to always think about whether toilets are going to be accessible or getting into restaurants are going to be accessible. I've had a friend who's lived in England and she's found the accessibility to be really questionable here compared to what it's like in America. When I put up this post asking you, have any questions for me, I did mention that Daisy is leaving school, and she had her last exam yesterday, And that sparked a few questions because people are like, well, isn't she only 16? So I thought I would maybe explain like how it works in the UK. Here's one question I've had. What is DB doing after school? If I'm up to date with things, she must be 16 at the most. So why is she leaving school so early? Perhaps there's a cultural divide because I stayed in high school until I turned 18 and then I went to uni. I'm not entirely sure how it works in the rest of the world. In the UK, we go to school until we're 16 and then we sit our end of school exams, which are called GCSEs, and those are the exams that Daisy has just sat. You do your GCSEs and then you leave school and then you go to college from the age of like 16 to about 18, and college is a lot more relaxed. You don't typically wear a uniform. You go a few days a week. Teachers are quite often called by their first names and you study A-levels. Typically only do about 3 or 4 A-levels, and that's quite nice because you can choose like your favourite subjects that you're really good at, or you can leave school and you can do more vocational courses like hairdressing. You can do bricklaying, construction, study to be an electrician. You can do apprenticeships, or you could do hospitality, for example. And honestly, my life began when I left school and went to college, and I just had the best time. And you're treated a lot more adult. You can go out with your friends, you can leave whenever you want to go shopping or studying. And yeah, I just loved college. Daisy's looking to do A-levels. At the moment, she's not 100% decided, but she's very arty and creative. So definitely art, possibly dance, media. That's how it works in the UK. So there, I think that answered your question actually. Yeah, over the summer I'm hoping that Daisy will do a little bit of work with me and a little bit of filming. So if there's anything you want to see or you want to know about, then let us know in the comments, because yeah, she's looking forward to doing some vlogs with us. Video. And now I would like to give a quick mention to today's paid partner of this video, BetterHelp. You know, turning 40 has really crept up on me, and Daisy leaving school, it feels like a really big chapter is ending. I really thought that I would have life figured out by now, but honestly, I sometimes feel like I'm falling behind. Lately, I've been asking myself, who am I now? And that's really brought up some interesting emotions: sadness, anger, frustration. And that's why I've started to think about therapy to help me feel more grounded. And I've realised like I don't have to figure this out on my own. What I've learned is you don't have to be in crisis to talk to someone. A therapist will listen to you and help you maybe see things from a different perspective that you hadn't really thought about. They're trained to help you untangle those stuck feelings and give you ways to move forward, not just sit there in the heaviness of it all. And that's why I've been looking into BetterHelp, and they make therapy way less intimidating. You just fill out a short questionnaire and then they match you with a licensed therapist. And if the fit doesn't feel right, then you can switch at any time at no extra cost. They've got thousands of therapists, 7,000 reviews, and a 4.3 rating on Trustpilot. If you're thinking about therapy too, then click the link in my description or head to betterhelp.com/wheels-no-heels for 10% off your first month. So yes, I have been feeling a little bit lost recently, and I am feeling a little bit uncertain about the future. You know, I recently did this reel, and yeah, I really do feel this with all my heart. It has all been strange recently. I can't put my finger on it. Deep Watercraft has asked, Jem, what is the funniest thing that's happened to you when you're out in your chair? Mine was someone asking, why are you in that chair, love? When I said, "Oh, don't worry, I'm saving it for a friend who's just gone for a run into that shop." And their face was priceless. It was a cross between insult and confusion. I've never been brave enough to make any of the jokes like,
"Why are you in that chair?"
It was a free trial and I forgot to cancel it. Yesterday, Daisy and I had a really weird situation. We were in Marks and Spencer and we were getting sushi. I don't eat sushi anymore because I'm allergic to fish. And we were at the counter. So if you imagine like a deli counter, it's like that. And Daisy and I, we were just there sort of like talking to each other, like, "Oh, which ones do you want? Which ones does Daddy want?" And you know how it goes. And we were wittering away and we didn't really have much awareness as to what was going on around us. Yes, we were one of those very annoying people. All of a sudden there was this lady and I could see her just like reaching over me like this, putting back all of the sushi that she had chosen and then clearly had second thoughts about. Then she was really struggling to put some back, and I have to say I wasn't 100% aware as to what was going on. So she put her foot on the actual display cabinet thing so she could get a reach, and then could reach right over me. And then when she tried to pull her foot off of the shelf, it had got stuck between like the shelf and the cabinet thing. And then she pulled her foot away and her shoe came off and she was like, "Ugh," and like tried to get her shoe from me. And I realised what was kind of going on and I was like, "Oh, it's okay, you know, I can move." And then I just moved myself up. Some people around wheelchairs, they just panic. And it's like, you know, you can ask me to move out of your way. That is absolutely fine. It's a chair with wheels, so it does move. But I think people feel really awkward to ask us to move out of the way. It's such a funny thing. And I did do a video on my recent pet peeves up here if you want to go and check them out. And I'm pretty sure we discussed people around wheelchairs. It's just wild. That was just such a strange experience. And I did feel quite bad because I was just like, "Just ask me to move, it's absolutely fine." Okay, this is a long one. Could you share your thoughts on invisible disabilities? I'm wondering how you feel about us using things like accessible toilets. I struggle to read. So basically Charlotte is saying that they have undiagnosed autism, feel like they need to use the accessible bathroom. They don't feel disabled enough. Even myself, with a visible disability, I sometimes don't feel disabled enough. Charlotte, I don't question anybody who is going into the accessible bathroom because you can't tell what is going on underneath someone. They could have a prosthetic, they could have a stoma, they could have a invisible disability such as yourself, like autism, trans women. I would never, ever deny anybody the right to feel safe when using a bathroom. I think that is a human right. And it's not for me to judge and police those things. I don't think it's disabled people that generally question these things. I think it's the ignorant non-disabled people who think they're being good allies question these things. But I hope that by raising the awareness that we do online and the work that I do and others do, these attitudes will slowly change. I know I've done a lot of talk and advocacy on my channel for people with invisible disabilities because I know how hard it is with a visible disability. I can't imagine how hard it must be with an invisible disability. But Charlotte, yes, I think that you should use what you need to use and make yourself comfortable. And one thing that I have begun to notice is quite often in toilets now they have signs saying not all disabilities are visible, and I often find those inclusive signs to feel a lot more welcoming. So I hope that's helped you, Charlotte. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope that you have enjoyed it. If you have any more questions, then feel free to drop them down below. And if you want to see any vlogs with me and Daisy, give us some ideas. We really do love filming together. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in my next one. Bye!